SFL Nation? Welcome back to SFL Nights with AJ Striker and my fantastic special co-host, Mr. Tyler Falk. And he is strong safety of the San Diego Mavericks. He's also the host of Nobody Ever Tells Me Anything. And he is one of the most, I would say busy, but he has so much love and has so much passion for the league that he's everywhere. And so, Tyler, thank you so much for being my co-host and making time for me. I really do appreciate it.
Ashley, thank you for having me on. It's an honor and privilege again to be here, and looking forward to for us recapping week 3 and looking forward to week 4.
Absolutely. And my fourth and goal interview would actually feature Mr. Bo Martin Jr. of the Lone Star Glory and Mike All of Jacksonville. They have a game coming up this week, and yes, Bantering was part of the show, so stay tuned for that. But this week 3, man, this was a great week, but it was also full of heartache and full of triumphs. Would you agree?
I'd have to agree 100%. Both of our teams sadly fell short. Both Arizona and San Diego just not able to get the job done. A lot of instant classics in week 3, not just for the season, but for all time in the SFL history. A lot of good games to get to, Ashley. Definitely.
Now, my picks for week 3 were Baltimore, Florida, Houston, LA, St. Louis, Sioux Falls, Atlanta, Fort Worth, Mexico, Quartz, Arizona, Vancouver, and Jacksonville. So, Tyler, what were your picks on NETMA?
So on NETMA, and who I picked and who you got are one and the same. I went with Baltimore over Denver, Jacksonville over San Diego, sadly. Lone Star over Houston, Atlanta over Queen City, Charleston over Sioux Falls, St. Louis over Louisiana, Florida over Carolina, Las Vegas over Los Angeles. That Los versus Los game. Oh, boy.
I know.
Fort Worth over Tulsa, Arizona over London, Vancouver over Portland, and Mexico City over DC.
All right. So with that, let's see how well we did, shall we? The Baltimore Vultures took on the Denver Nightwings, and Denver won 31-16. I was wrong about this game. Baltimore had 276 yards passing, 20 yards rushing, and 283 yards total. And time of possession was 16 minutes and 43 seconds with 1 turnover. Denver had 304 yards passing, 139 yards rushing with 443 total. Their time of possession was 27 minutes and 17 seconds with 2 turnovers. So, Tyler, what did you think about this?
I think a couple headlines from this game is Jared McChesney outperformed T-Roy, and it wasn't even close, sadly. 142 yards to 20 yards, and McChesney just completely showed up to play, ready to go, and it showed on the score sheet. A fantastic J on the ground from him. And then I want to look at that third down percentage. Denver really was able to convert time and time again, converting 63% of their third downs, while Baltimore can only muster up 38%. So Denver really controlled this football game, even though they had more turnovers.
Yeah, definitely a more balanced game with Denver. Player of the game was, in fact, Jared McChesney with 32 attempts, 142 yards, 1 touchdown, 99 reception yards, and 1 reception touchdown. Carolina took on Florida, and Florida won 20-17. I was right about this game. Carolina had 232 yards passing, 71 yards rushing, 303 total. Time of possession was 20 minutes and 45 seconds with 2 turnovers. Florida at 220 yards passing, 84 yards rushing, and 304 yards total. Their time of possession was 23 minutes and 2 seconds with 1 turnover. What did you think about this one?
Stats can lie, Ashley. Both quarterbacks had about 76% completion percentage, but it was really more the fact that Florida was able to move the football down the field more effectively and with more consistency, even though they had the same consistency rate. Charlie Bullet Boletsky is really making a name for himself out there in Florida, really adding to that new, maybe more balanced style of offense that Florida is trying to develop, and it's really paying off in huge dividends. The one thing I'm going to say about Carolina is I think for week 1 and week 3, they had a very passive game plan. Their style of football the last couple of seasons has been more that swing pass. 9 times out of 10, that's the route they're going with. It works here and there. It worked last week. This week, not so much. And I think if teams can key in on that, Carolina is going to be, headed down a road they don't want to go down.
I definitely agree. Charlie Boletsky was the player of the game with 17 attempts, 89 yards, 1 touchdown, and 16 reception yards. St. Louis took on Louisiana. This was a surprising game for me. St. Louis did win 19-14. I did choose the right, I did make that right call. Louisiana had 210 yards passing, 73 yards rushing, 283 yards total. Their time of possession was 22 minutes and 8 seconds with 7 turnovers. 7. St. Louis. And
six of them by Johnny Pickler.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, okay, we're going to talk about that in a second. St. Louis had 251 yards passing, 52 yards rushing for 303 yards total. Their time of possession was 21 minutes and 52 seconds with 2 turnovers. So turnovers was the name of the game in the loss of Louisiana.
Yeah. I think the commissioner, Cameron Irvine, put it perfectly last week, and I think it applies this week. Pickler problems. Another little thing I want to say is the right QB makes the difference. St. Louis in this new style of league with the recent league rule changes, the difficulty being amped up a little bit. Sioux Falls knows how Christian Brown works in this style of league, and they're using him the correct way. Louisiana and Pickler aren't meshing too well right now, and you can tell it's not working out.
What do you think they got to change to make it work?
I think Pickler's trying to do too much. I think he's trying to force balls a little bit too much. I think he needs a little bit more consistency in his game, having the right awareness when to pass the ball into coverage, when not to, when to just check it down. Right now, I think he's just forcing too much.
Got it. Player of the game was strong safety, Colin Douglas, with 1 interception, 12 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 2 pass deflections. The Lone Star Glory took on the Houston Hyenas, and Houston won 22-17. I was right about this game. The Glory had 339 yards passing, 28 yards rushing, and 367 yards total. Time of possession was 19 minutes and 52 seconds with 3 turnovers. Houston had 266 yards passing, 54 yards rushing, and 320 yards total. Their time of possession was 23 minutes and 18 seconds with 1 turnover. So what do you think?
My only thing is, how is Max Espresso still a non-contract player? He got most of their points.
He did.
Houston was only able to muster up 1 touchdown, so that equates for 7 of their 22 points. So 15 points, 5 of 5 on field goals for Espresso. Get that man a coffee break. My goodness. And for Lone Star, they just left it late. They let Houston be methodical on majority of their drives, and they were more efficient. Was Houston, and it showed. Houston only scored 3 points up until the 4th quarter, and then they went on a nice little scoring spree with Ace Fennec, but it just wasn't enough. They have to be more consistent throughout those first 3 quarters if they want to stay in football games.
Gotcha. Player of the game was quarterback E.T. King with 25 completions of 35 attempts, 266 yards, 1 touchdown, and 90 QBR. Now, did E.T. King actually break a record in this game?
I believe he did. I'm trying to remember what that record is. I think it was completions. I think he is now one of the leaders in completions.
Okay. Well, while I go over the next stats, if you can find that, then that'd be awesome.
Sure.
So, Las Vegas Fury took on the LA Vikings, and the LA won 54-44. Las Vegas had 410 yards passing, 107 yards rushing, 517 total. The time of possession was 14 minutes and 34 seconds with 6 turnovers. LA had 332 yards passing, 170 yards rushing for 502 total. Their time of possession was 29 minutes and 26 seconds with 3 turnovers. And, you know, having the ball for almost 30 minutes in a game would definitely give you the win. And then this was a high-scoring game. They were going back and forth. It was crazy.
What was this game, Ashley? I mean, Colin Pierce in the first half throws 5 interceptions. It comes back in the second half and throws 5 touchdowns. Like you can't keep him down. It's just incredible how crazy was this game. You think you have Los Angeles all figured out, and then they come storming back. It just was crazy from start to finish.
It's like nobody wanted to play defense or something because it was like a high-scoring game. And
well, I'll tell you one person who wanted to play defense: Ryan Yosef with 4 interceptions for LA.
There you go. There you go. And actually, quarterback Sully Richardson, though, was the player of the game with 27 completions out of 41 attempts, 332 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, and a quarterback rating of 102.9. But I could easily see Ryan Yosef actually getting player of the game. Did you ever figure out, did you ever find out about Yxng?
I have him up here. I think all the stats have been entered in, so if I just take a quick look.
Sure.
I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anything pop out directly at me. He might have moved up on the leaderboard in a statistic, but I don't think he's leading anything right now, unless I'm mistaken.
No worries. Now we have Charleston versus Sioux Falls, and I was really surprised at this game, man. Charleston won 19-13, and I was wrong about this game. Charleston had 149 yards passing, 90 yards rushing, and 239 yards total. Their time of possession was 19 minutes and 16 seconds with only 1 turnover. Sioux Falls had 265 yards passing, 70 yards rushing, and 335 yards total. Their time of possession was 24 minutes and 41 seconds with 2 turnovers. So, Tyler, what happened? Like, how did Sioux Falls put forth all this effort but still not come out with the win?
Yeah, so when I was calling this game up in the booth in a very cold Sioux Falls, I was looking through the first half, like, all right, Sioux Falls is back, 10-0. Sioux Falls has got everything back together. They should just, go ahead and see this one out pretty easily. They just didn't show up out of the tunnel for the second half. They were very, to me, up in the booth, it felt like they didn't have the right game plan coming out of the half. For me, I was like, all right, Sioux Falls bottled this. They haven't really, shown anything. They haven't really done anything. They have to be, they have to completely fall on the face. When you look at the stats, they got mugged. Sioux Falls got mugged. And for those of you that don't know what the terminology is, it's more commonly used over for football over in the UK or in that part of the world. But a mugging is when your team plays well, is dominating on the stat sheet, but loses the ball game. So Sioux Falls got mugged. And they're 0-3 for the first time in team history. This is something we've never seen out of Sioux Falls. And it really drives the question, what is Sioux Falls going to do? Not just throughout the rest of the season. What's going to happen in the offseason? We don't really know what Sioux Falls, what they really say, because they're not really active with the rest of the community. They like to keep to themselves. I'd love to be a fly on the wall in the Sioux Falls locker room to see what is going on. And I don't know, Ashley. Sioux Falls has got me really, really concerned about going forward.
I can imagine. I think that you will find out the true character of a team and the true character of the players within that organization. When you come off winning, when you come off being those top tier teams, and then if you're having a season where you struggle like this, do you retain those players? Will they still understand and be like, hey, I'm riding with you through the good times and with the bad, or will they just go somewhere else? So it will be interesting to see. Player of the game was kicker Amanda Moyer. 4 field goals made out of 4 attempts, She also had 49, she went 49 long as well. Atlanta took on Queen City. Atlanta won 27-17. I guessed this one right as well. Atlanta had 295 yards passing, 78 yards rushing, 373 yards total. Their time of possession was 24 minutes and 20 seconds with 1 turnover. Queen City had 206 yards passing, 88 yards rushing, and 294 yards total. Their time of possession was 18 minutes and 12 seconds with 1 turnover. So what do you think how do you think Atlanta won this game besides them being at home against Queen City, which is 4-time champions?
We got to get this out of the way. Yes, Atlanta and LA are going 2-10. How that has backfired. My goodness.
Bruh.
Anywho, congratulations to Atlanta making it 2 wins already in the season. Wow. Anywho, Queen City, I think, just lost concentration at the end of the game, and Moose Papino provided a huge 39-yard return on his interception, setting up Atlanta in fantastic field position on the 25-yard line. But at the same time, don't call this a comeback for Atlanta. This was never a comeback for them. Just look at the stat sheet. They dominated time of possession. They dominated the third down percentage. They dominated on the first down. Atlanta just had the better game, had the better game plan coming into Buffalo, and it shows. It shows. Atlanta duly deserves this win.
Gotcha. And player of the game was tight end Jamal Wooding with 9 receptions, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 11.2 yards per catch. So, yeah, Tyler, when you mentioned that and I was on your show and I was like, bruh, I don't know if that was a good call, but, everybody has their opinions, So now they're going to have to lose the rest of them, huh? I guess.
Right.
Tulsa took on for the Fort Worth Toros, and Fort Worth won 30-13. I was right about this game as well. Tulsa had 345 yards passing, 75 yards rushing, and 420 total. Their time of possession was 22 minutes and 42 seconds with 4 turnovers. Fort Worth had 206 yards passing, 146 yards rushing, for 352 yards total. Their time of possession was 20 minutes, 31 seconds with no mistakes. So seems like Fort Worth was more balanced and they did not have any turnovers. Was that the reason that they won?
Well, we're going to come back to that turnovers because I think knowing your QB is half the battle. JQ, a rookie, coming over from Madison into Tulsa, not really knowing what to expect, and Curtis swapping back to his preferred role at quarterback for the first season. So you really got 2 rookie quarterbacks. Fort Worth knows how Cam Curtis operates. Didn't have a touchdown, but didn't have an interception, and that was the difference in this game. Fort Worth knows how to operate with Cam Curtis under center. Tulsa is still learning that process. I'm not saying they don't know how to use him. They're still learning how to use him, learning how he operates, learning how he acts. And I think they just have the wrong setup for him. We'll see that change coming down the line. Tulsa's making some changes. I like the Tulsa organization in that regard, that they are not afraid to go out and do everything. I think they had one of the best drafts out there, yet they're 0-3 coming into here. I think it's just going to take time. And I think if the players that were drafted in there, understand the process in Tulsa, we talk about process, it's process for the 76ers over in Philadelphia in basketball. But I think Tulsa needs to have a process, and they do have a process. And that's something they'll work with JQ to get that done.
Gotcha. Player of the game was halfback Jason Williams, 17 attempts for 140 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 9 reception yards. Another surprising game for me, and I know you too, was DC Dragons taking on the Mexico City Aztecs. Mexico won 34-31 in overtime. I was right about this game. DC had 326 yards passing, 71 yards rushing, 397 yards total. Their time of possession was 20 minutes and 55 seconds with 3 turnovers. Mexico City had 317 yards passing, 138 yards rushing for 456 yards total. Their time of possession was 25 minutes and 29 seconds with 4 turnovers. How exciting was this game for you?
I got 2 words for you, Ashley. Instant classic. You have a two old guard, I like to call them quarterbacks, Shabazz Synergy and wow, words are hard. Matt Wilson. There we go. Two of the old guard as terms of quarterbacks really having a solid day and both, passing. Both had 3 or more interceptions, but that's just their defenses. Both defenses came to play. Both defenses made plays, and both offenses made plays. Let it up to the wire. DC coming back 0-2, but hanging in there with Mexico City, a playoff team from last year. That's incredible. So I think the one big difference here was in the sack department. I think one player stood out from the rest. Dan Tritz, the rookie from Albuquerque, with 5 sacks on the day. Dan Tritz has shown why he's a massive defensive lineman and why he's going to make big plays, not just in this season, but for more seasons to come.
All right. And player of the game was halfback Phoenix Jones. 16 attempts for 95 yards, 1 touchdown, 72 reception yards, 1 reception touchdown. Oh boy. Now, London Knights take on the Arizona Scorpions, and London won 42-31. Oh my gosh. It hurts every time I see it. I was wrong about this game. London had 421 yards passing, only 5 yards rushing though. 426 total. Time of possession was 18 minutes and 27 seconds with no mistakes. On the other hand, Arizona had 278 yards passing, 150 yards rushing, 428 yards total. Time of possession was 24 minutes and 49 seconds with 2 turnovers. I don't even know what to say. Tyler?
Here's what I'll say. Angus McLean played his heart out. London decided, you know what? We're just gonna pass the ball today. Angus, you're gonna take us, and you're going to lead us wherever we're gonna go. And 4 touchdowns, 0 mistakes. McLean was on fire. Not to mention getting the tight end Benji Matson involved for, I missed it on the broadcast, so I'm sorry, Benji, his first ever touchdown. And I think if I was on the Dave Axis show on Tuesday, I would have said, Benji was my diva of the week, because not only did he score his first touchdown, and Moss, Bernard Smith, my old teammate, he didn't just do any celebration, he did a night kneeling celebration. So a complete credit to London when he made the touchdown. So, and I think Brandon Yxng at the end sealed the game with his pick 6, unfortunately against you, Miss Ashley Jackson. But, London's passing air raid offense unfortunately shredded the Arizona Scorpions.
Definitely. So much so that Angus McLean was the player of the game with 39 completions for 41 attempts. He only missed 2. Wow. And then 421 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 142 quarterback rating. Man, they really played their hearts out. They deserve it. We just weren't protecting the flats that well for some reason. And if you can't do that, and then if you have the mistakes, you got to eat it. So it happens, but we'll see about next week. We'll get that win over Denver next week. Denver. Oh my. Okay. So.
Oh, don't worry. San Diego played Jacksonville this week. We'll get to that soon enough, and you can tell me how crazy my Mavericks played. So don't worry, we'll get there.
Gotcha. Portland Fleet took on Vancouver. Vancouver won 27-5. Am I reading that right? Wait.
You are reading that right. A safety in the 4th quarter for Portland makes it a scoregami 27-5, your final.
Wow. So Portland had 144 yards passing, 60 yards rushing, 204 yards total. The time of possession was 24 minutes and 7 seconds with 3 turnovers. Vancouver, on the other hand, had 320 yards passing, 91 yards rushing for 421 yards total. Time of possession was 24 minutes and 3 seconds with 3 turnovers. Tyler, what? I literally thought I wrote that down wrong, to be honest with you. What happened?
All I got to say is, Portland, welcome to Canada. Please meet Robert Redford and Tom Pepper, and you're going to be, just there for that. Just there so that Vancouver can get a win. That's all that really happened. Both quarterbacks threw 3 interceptions, but it was really just Tom Pepper and Robert Redford just being the consistent veterans that they are. Matt South coming off of, this is his second season with Portland after coming out of retirement. And he's still trying to knock off the rust and trying to get used to his receivers. Lost Connor Weston to go to San Diego this past offseason, and so that there goes another big target. And so Portland is a great organization. They're going to have some of these games where they're going to play some of the big teams, and they're just not going to be able to adequately compete effectively. And that's what we saw.
Oh, boy. I was right about that game, though, but I didn't think I was going to. I thought that Portland was going to put up a few more points than that, though. But player of the game was Tom Pepper. 25 completions, 32 attempts, 320 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a quarterback rating of 91.4. And your game, Jacksonville Kings versus San Diego Mavericks. Jacksonville won 34-17. I was right about this game. I think you were right too. Jacksonville had 335 yards passing, 64 yards rushing, 399 yards total. Their time of possession was 26 minutes and 52 seconds with no mistakes. San Diego had 257 yards passing, 42 yards rushing, 299 yards total. Time of possession was 16 minutes of 45 seconds with no mistakes either. So what happened?
I'm gonna quote Dennis Green on this one. They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook. First half, 10-10. We're going into the second half doing well, and we decided to come out and be conservative. So on offense, and unfortunately, the defense just wasn't able to hold back the levy because in the first half, we knew we were playing right with Jacksonville. We were playing, solid football through the entire game. It just goes to show if you let Jacksonville, play their game, they're going to completely run over you. It's like Herb Brooks. You can't defend them. You attack them, and we just defended them, and it just went the other way.
Yeah, I understand, man. Trust me, I feel your pain. Player of the game was quarterback Christian Christensen with 43 completions out of 51 attempts, 335 yards total, 4 touchdowns, and a quarterback rating of 120.2. So that wraps up everything. How many did you get right this week?
So if I have that on hand here, I had finding and switching through everything. So I think I was 8-4 this week, if I remember correctly. Let me get you an exact number. I think I was 8-4. For my preseason predictions, I think I was 7-5 on my preseason predictions, just messing around. Yes, 8-4 on my regular predictions throughout my week-to-week predictions. Preseason 7-5.
Hey, well, we matched because I was 8-4. We were 8-4 too.
There we go.
So it was just, these were some great games. And if you take the time out to literally watch all of these, you can be captivated, by the talent that's on the field. But even how sometimes when you have all of the stats on your side, you still don't win, So I don't know what else to say about that. But we do have our picks for week 4 coming right up. All right. So we have our picks for week 4. Tyler, take it away.
All right. First game on the docket on the website is Denver is going to fly into the desert and face the Arizona Scorpions. Ashley, who do you got?
I got Arizona. I told you guys I will not go against my team, even if I think they're We may fall a little short. Never going to say it. As long as we can stop Jared McChesney. He is the catalyst. He is always going to. He has been the player of the game for 3 straight weeks. We got to stop that. And I think Eddie Gage has that game plan to be able to do that.
And coming off of a team that just went complete air raid, it's going to be a completely different mindset for Eddie Gage and is creating the playbook for that Denver game. I think, Eddie Gage is a great coach. This isn't the slight against him. I think Denver is going to pull it out. I think I'm giving the edge to Denver by about 3 points on this one. Okay, fair enough. I'm not mad at you. It's like you and Dave. You got to be careful what you say, because if you pick against Lone Star, you're off the panel for the next week.
Oh no! See, I'm not like that. I'll let you know next time I see you, though. You was wrong, so you owe me an apology. Who we got next?
All right. So next we got the Louisiana 0-3 Louisiana Revolution going to Atlanta into the Hive to face the Swarm.
Unless Johnny Pickner can get it together, I'm going to go with Atlanta on this one. They've just been making too many mistakes too often, and we have to see how the ball rolls, but I'm picking Atlanta.
Oh boy, to pick against my 2-10 prediction, I think I have to. So, yeah, 2-10 Atlanta and LA. Woo! That's going nowhere. I've got Atlanta here by at least 10 points.
All right. Cool.
The next. Oh boy. So we have Mexico City going to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And both teams really looking for Sioux Falls. They need to get off the schneid here. And for Mexico City, they had a real scare against DC. So, but they came out on top. Ashley, who do you got?
Oh, I think I'm going to give them another shot. I'm going to go with Sioux Falls. It's a home game. Normally they do well at home. Mexico City does have the bronze bomber, though. If he connects up with Mike Dax, it might be a different story, but I am going to go with Sioux Falls.
Sioux Falls has lost their first 2 home games, and 1 to Denver, 2 to Charleston. Mexico City, I think, is a better team than Charleston. Denver's going 0-4 for their first time in their team's history. That's where I'm leaning. I think, again, it's going to be another close game like they had against Charleston, but I think it's going to be another 6-7 points that Mexico City will take it by.
Gotcha.
All right, next on the list, Jacksonville and Lone Star. Lone Star coming off a couple of tough losses. They really need to turn things around there in Denton, Texas, Ashley.
I agree. And I think I'm going to go with Jacksonville because of I think I mentioned this from my last podcast, because of that team has been together for so long. Progressions are so deep rooted and they know each other. If Lone Star can stop Jerry Willis, then, you have a shot. If CC is playing the way if he played like he did last week, then they're definitely going to win. So hopefully they'll do that. I'm going with Jacksonville.
I like that pick too, as Jacksonville over Lone Star. They came into San Diego, unfortunately, this past week and really just controlled the game in the second half. So Jacksonville's riding high in a lot of momentum. I think Jacksonville, like you said, Ashley, I think Jacksonville's a good chance of taking it as well.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to our 5th game, we get Vancouver going to a very spunky St. Louis team. Both teams 3-0. Somebody's always got to go, Ashley.
I think I'm going to roll with St. Louis. I think that when you're on a roll like that, when you have that fire in your belly, I think that you can win anything. And they are at home. They have been putting on a great showing as of late. So St. Louis is going to win this game.
This is going to be a primetime matchup, St. Louis and Vancouver. I think we're going to the wire like we had the last couple of games. Yeah. I think a field goal in St. Louis for St. Louis is going to be the difference.
Definitely. You can't count them out. People used to a long time ago, they said, hey, I'm just going to mark this off as an automatic win. Can't do that this season.
whole different ball game, whole different league. Cardiac Christian Brown's in the house, and St. Louis is going to have a fantastic season.
Exactly.
All right, Houston coming off the win in Denton, Texas, comes to face Las Vegas, who had that crazy game in LA. Who do you got, Ashley?
I think this is another one. This is another good one. I think that Las Vegas is going to be pretty upset when they play against these guys, so I'm going to go with Las Vegas.
I think Colin Pierce has even with 6 picks, has still been a good front runner for Rookie of the Year, in my opinion. And he plays good at home. He plays really good at home. I think Las Vegas has this one in the bag. 10, 13 points, in my opinion. That's what I'm giving it as.
Sounds good.
All right. On the downward stretch here, on the home stretch now, Ashley, we got Queen City and Tulsa in Tulsa. Who do you got?
You know, I think that Queen City is going to win this one. But you never know. I'm still going to go with Queen City, but I did notice a difference in their gameplay. I don't know if it's because the legend settings that we have now, but Tulsa, if they can get JQ more involved in Gabriel Manning, then they definitely stand a chance. If they can't, then Queen City is going to take it.
Yeah, I think Queen City needs to really find a balance, because right now I think they're overusing JQ, not using him effectively. I think that transition is going to take a little bit more time, so I give Queen City the edge in this one.
Okay.
All right, Charleston are coming into DC after DC shocked Mexico City and nearly came out with the victory after that game went into overtime. It's going to be a tight one, I think, in DC. Who do you got?
I agree. It will be a tight one in DC. That was, like I said, an exciting game. They seem to be getting progressively better every game. And DC is playing at home, right? DC
is at home at Lord Destro Production Stadium, yes.
Well, you know what? I'm going to throw them a bone. I think that DC is going to come out with their first win over Charleston. Now, Charleston, if Keith Swearingen, I swear that guy is so good. And Allen Predators owners, he does have a knack for finding, for finding the weaknesses in his opponents. But yeah, I think Destro is going to wind up winning out on this one.
I'd like that pick. I like how it's going, especially with how they played last week. I picked them in the preseason not having a win until later in the season. I think that time frame is going to be much shorter to when they get their first win, but I don't think they're going to beat Charleston this time around. I think they've got another couple of weeks before they get their first win. I think Charleston has just enough power in their defense to contain Synergy and contain that's the defender. Kevin Say in the backfield. I think Charleston has this one.
Got it.
All right, moving on. We have Fort Worth going over to Portland in a battle of the season 15 expansion franchises. Ashley.
Oh, this is hard. This is so hard. But I think Fort Worth, with the way that they've been playing, and they're progressing very well over there. I got to go with Fort Worth. Portland, don't be mad. I know, but it's just some growing to do that they have to. Now, if they can get Ezekiel Love more involved, if Shad Allen can get off and get more interceptions, then they may stand a chance. But yeah, I'm going with Fort Worth.
This one for me is a toss-up. Both teams are on the up, in my opinion. Portland, taking a little bit more time to get out of the gate than their counterparts in Fort Worth. But they came and played the last week of the season last season, excuse me. It was last year. But I think it's going to be a tight game. I think this one again is going to be decided by 3 points or less, and I'm giving the edge to Portland in this one at home, and I think Portland gets one over Fort Worth this time around.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, LA 3-0. LA is going to go all the way across the continental United States to go into the eye of the Florida storm. Ashley.
Woo-wee. Oh man. This is hard. This is a hard one. Because LA has been playing lights out, and they're at 3-0. And with that, with Sully's defense, with the creativity of Tom over there, oh my gosh. But then with Mighty, he has a way of just turning everything on his head. And then with Charlie Volitsky, he's been lights out too. Oh my stars. Florida's playing at home, right?
Florida's at home, yep.
Gonna give it to Florida.
Okay.
Gonna give it to Florida.
Okay. I have to completely disagree with you there, Ashley, and here's why. Ron Cochran has thrown over 30 interceptions, I think, in the past 2 seasons. And for me, this is a perfect storm for LA. They forced 6 turnovers out of Colin Pierce last week. Expect about the same number this week when LA comes to town. So LA over Florida in this one.
Okay. We're going to see.
Yeah, we will see. London, with a fantastic win over Arizona, goes to the defending champion, Baltimore Vultures. Both teams are coming off of wins, Baltimore coming off of a loss to Denver. So both teams are 2-1. Ashley,
I think that Baltimore is going to wind up taking this one. I think that TJ is going to go in the lab, fix those mistakes that were made, get T-Roy the ball a bit more, because I've never seen T-Roy score less than really 80 yards, and he was only held to 20. So as long as they get him more involved, Wig more, make less mistakes, I think they'll have a good showing. Yeah,
and from both of us speaking with T-Roy after the game, a fire has been lit under T-Roy, and I think I completely agree with you. T-Roy gets a lot more touches and a lot more yards this week against London. Baltimore takes this one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, finally, it's my San Diego Mavericks going over to Carolina to do battle. So it's going to be a battle in the air, the Skyhawks versus the Mavericks.
I think this is going to be a very close game. I think Optimus is finally clicking on all cylinders as far as getting the playbooks together. On the other hand, Carolina has also had a significant improvement with their plays too. I am going to go with, I'm going to go with Carolina. I think that they're going to edge out the win. I don't think they're going to win by much at all, but maybe by like 7 points. But I'm going to go with Carr.
I do think it's going to be tough, especially for the Mavericks. I know Mike Ryan and the rest of the defense are working hard to get back out there and to shut down opposing offenses, and Carolina's no exception. And I think it's going to be another close game. I think this one's going to be decided by maybe 5 points or less. But I think San Diego has a good shot this week. Again, we'll have to wait and see, but I'm picking San Diego, Ashley.
All right. Hey, and if I'm wrong, please, you can come back on the show and just let me know, like Ashley.
We'll do the same thing when Arizona wins this week, huh?
There you go. Exactly. Exactly. But all right, everybody, stay tuned for my 4th and Goal interview with Lone Star and Jacksonville. See you soon. All right, SFL Nation, we are back with my 4th and Goal interview. We have Lone Star Glories, Bo Martin Jr. and Jacksonville Kings, Mike All with us. And they're going to be playing each other this weekend, so I don't know how this podcast is getting ready to work out, but we're going to find out today. What's up, fellas?
Hey, what's going on? It's good to see you again, AJ.
Hey,
what's up, Mike?
Hey, Matt.
Good to see you, too. That's it? Hey, man.
That's all I get? All right. I don't get it's nice to see you, bro. I haven't seen you in a while. I just get, hey, man. All right. I see what it's going to be. All right.
I saw your picture on AJ's post for the preview I'm good.
Already. Okay. All right. Let's go.
Well, as you know, we are in week 3, and we had this week has been a heartbreak for some and a triumph for others.
Tell me about it.
Bruh. So we're going to discuss that. So let's start off with the Lone Star Glory. We got to talk about that, man. That y'all took on Houston.
Yeah.
Things didn't go too well for you. 21-17.
Let's just say there was no glory in that.
Oh,
no glory there.
There was no glory in that. I you know what? At the end of the day, we're all professional teams, right? The SFL, we're all on the same level, and whether you're 3-0, 0-3, or whatever you are, we got to get out there and fight every game, and give all credit due to Houston. They got out there and they put on a good game, and they say it's a game of inches, and it literally came down to inches. And so take nothing away from Houston. They played a great game. They outplayed us, and you know, I rest comfortably knowing the coaching staff that we have, that we'll be able to rebound from it. But yeah, Houston handled their business. Shout out to them for doing what they did.
You know, it's crazy because you guys had 339 yards passing, but 28 yards rushing. They had 266 yards passing and 54 yards rushing. You guys held the ball for a little bit less time, but it looks like the turnovers were the ones that was kind of hindering you. Would you agree?
Oh, definitely. We had a couple costly turnovers, interceptions. We had a muffed punt or a muffed kick return that ended up resulting in a really short field for Houston. And, you know, those are the kind of things that just need to get shored up. You know, mistakes happen, you know, take nothing away from our rookie kick returner. He's been doing a great job for us. But like I said, mistakes happen. So we just got to get those type of things straightened out and we'll be fine. And then as far as the interceptions go, you know, just switch up the game plan a little bit and we'll straighten that out as well.
Definitely. And, you know, it's funny because I've noticed that more so this season as far as the kick return fumbles and things like that, because we've had, you know, XZ's had them where we have to make sure you secure the ball, Jacob. Man, you got hold it in your hands like it's your heart, man.
Yeah, you gotta hold it close, like you're in love with it. You gotta.
Exactly. All right, Mike. On the other side of things, the Jacksonville Kings took on the San Diego Mavericks, and you guys won 34-17. How do you think you guys won with such a large margin?
So, you know, that first half, we were just kind of feeling out San Diego. They're a new team, and we didn't really know much about them, so we were kind of feeling them out. And we went into the half tied 10-10, and that's when Frank said, let's take the reins off, fellas, let's get it done. And we went out there and we got it done in the second half. CC played a great game. I always like to say that he's the Brett Favre of the SFL because you never know which jersey is going to catch the ball, but this time it was all Kings jerseys that caught the ball. He did a great job. KG went out there and more than took over second place all time in the receptions list, going up against Optimus in the same game. KG had 16 receptions that game to show that he's the man more so than Optimus in that game. Jared pounded the rock. All aspects of our game got it done. Even the Saxonville line, we went out there and had 7 sacks. It was nice.
Yeah, you definitely did your thing.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
you definitely did your thing. Y'all held the ball longer. I mean, y'all had 26 minutes, 52 seconds. San Diego only had it for 16 minutes. Listen, I don't know anybody that can have the ball for that short amount of time and still win the game. So you guys had the time to make the necessary plays to get those wins, man. So kudos to you. I will ask you both if there is something that you both could contribute to your games I'm gonna go back first. If you could have contributed something else to your team for this game, perhaps for it to be even higher margin or for you to even win the game, what would you have done as a player? And I'll start with you first, Mike.
I mean, like I said, CC did a great job of handling his business.
Yeah, he did.
But I feel like with our addition of Iggy Swift this season, we should have let him open it up a little bit more. I mean, he was out there and he was pounding holes for Jared. He was paving that way. But I would like to see Iggy, get some chances to pound for that first down or punch it in at the goal line. I'd like to see Iggy get more involved.
Okay. And what about you, Bo?
What about you, Mike? What about you? What do you want to do?
I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get more sacks, just like I'm going to do this week on your quarterback.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Well. All right. I see, said the blind man. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do, what I would like to say, Ashley, it's a little known secret that I have yet to get my first SFL interception. So I think against the Jacksonville quarterback, this would be a great week to go out and get my first interception. And I'd like to ask a personal invitation of Christian if he could do the Christian thing and allow me to go ahead and please let me get an interception off of him. I appreciate it very much.
Well, I gotta say, CC might just do that for you. He like I said, he likes to spread that ball around. It doesn't matter what jersey you're wearing.
Hey.
He just said that.
So and you know what? I appreciate that coming from a Jacksonville King. To let me know if you could just go ahead and speak with CC and tell him to go ahead and float one my way. It'll be much obliged. I would greatly appreciate it. For my first. And if you really want to be nice, tell him to go ahead and just clear a pathway so we can make it a pick six. How about that?
I don't know about that. That's asking a little bit much.
Now, Bo, I noticed that you are number 2 in tackles behind Brian Craven, and you're number 3 cornerback in the SFL in tackles. How does that feel?
It feels good. Being a semi-second year, this is I've been in a season. I still hasn't been a full season. I came in week 5 last year, so I still haven't been in quite a full season yet. But it feels good to be as involved in the team as I am. And to be I feel like a leader in the defensive backfield, and just to see my guys get out there and just to see me get out there. And I haven't had the interceptions yet, but I'm involved in a lot of plays. And to be number 2 in tackles behind Coach Craven is quite the feat on the team, with all of the all-stars that we got between King Seed and Dougie Day and McGuire. I mean, we got all-stars on our squad. So for me to be in that elite class, and even with Lacey coming in as a rookie, he slid right in and he got an interception last week, and I don't even have one yet.
Yeah.
But that's different. So, but that's the wholesome competition that we have, and it just shows the caliber of teammates that we have. So it means a lot to be number 2 on the team as far as tackles goes. I'd like to get my interceptions up. That's where Christian comes into play, of course. And then but other than that, it feels great to be where I am. I feel like a really good contributor.
Okay.
Well, if I could just add to that, AJ, if you'd stop keeping that cement in your gloves, you would make more catches. You got to stop having them stone hands.
Well, hopefully. Well, I'm gonna let that ride. I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say.
I'm sure you'll probably come back here later.
Mike is my boy, so sometimes I speak freely with Mike, but I got to remember we on camera right now.
Listen, this is why I publicized the way I did. I don't know what's going to happen. You guys are already talking enough smack anyway. Go ahead. I don't mind. But so Mike, you are the AGM and the scout over there in Jacksonville, amongst other things. So when you're scouting for a team, what is the one thing, like when you scout for Lone Star, what are some of the things that you definitely look for when you're doing your thing?
Don't throw it towards Bo. That's what he's looking for. No, where's Bo?
But, actually, that's exactly what I'm gonna be looking at, because I'm gonna be looking at the defense, and I'm gonna look to see what Craven and Gunny and Lacey and Bo here is gonna be doing. Watch and see exactly what their tells are, and I'm gonna pass all that on to Coach, and give him a good scout so that he can plan our offense perfectly around them. Like I said, maybe we give one to Bo just to make him feel good about himself. But other than that, we're gonna find all the holes in that defense.
Okay. So since are you the lead scout over there now?
Yeah, I'm one of the top ones. we've got our two rookies in there now, so that they're learning. Keenan and Jay are both learning how to do this, and Keenan has taken to it quite well. He knows what he's doing. We got MSG, Mike St. Green. He's the assistant DC this year, and or I should say this season. Well, technically this year too. I mean, it's a whole new year. But he's watching the offense and getting all that down and forming good game plans out of that. And fortunately, I have guys like Taekwon Hale who's available to chip in like he has this week. We wanted his say on what LSG had to do, and we've got guys like Ryan Rie and AG Pennypacker that were on the team, the scout team last year, and they're available if we ever want to throw more eyes at teams. So we got a good crew out there. Yeah,
it seems so. And I was wondering how vital was Dave Barr, because he's with AZ now. But I also know that he was one of the stats. He was one of the scouts for Jacksonville before he came to us, and I was wondering how sorely is he missed?
Oh yeah, he's got a good football mind. He's a coach himself in real life, and he knew what he was talking about, and it was nice bouncing thoughts and questions off of him. Helped me learn a lot, not only from Frank but from him and the rest of the guys as we would collaborate on what we were seeing. And it was great having him, and I'm glad he's doing so well. Where is he playing again? Was that Arizona?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. No, he's doing a great job out there, and I'm happy for him. He's back in the position that he started out in, and I wish him nothing but the best. But yeah, he left a little bit of a hole that we needed to fill, and I think we got it covered.
Yeah, I mean, y'all got like about 9 or 10 of scouts over there. Y'all don't need no more. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
appreciate it. Mm-hmm. So, Bo, now this game coming up with Jacksonville. Why do you think Lone Star is going to win ultimately?
So let's keep it real for a minute. It's no secret that Jacksonville is a good team, right? I think that secret is kind of out if it was a secret. I think, what are they ranked? Number 3 or 4 in the league right now. So we got our work cut out for us, right? So I can't divulge too much information on what we have planned. But what I will say is that we've got the best coach in the SFL, and I've got 100% confidence that Coach is gonna draw up some plays. Coach Craven is gonna draw up some plays, and between offensive, defensive, and everybody else, that we've got a pretty good plan to shut down the receiver game. And where our work is really going to be tested is shutting down that running back. He's a beast. We know he's a beast. He's definitely top 5 in the SFL. And so our work's going to be cut out. Our defense is going to be centered around making sure that if we can keep him under 100 yards, we feel like we've won that battle. So that's going to be a big part of our strategy, is trying to shut down the run game, and then we're just going to count on Christian to do his thing.
All right, Mike. So why do you think Jacksonville is going to take this win?
So let me just backtrack a little bit and say I agree with Bo. Coach Craven is definitely one of the top 24 coaches in this league.
That's not at all what I said. That's not at all.
Well, I have to agree. He is one of the top 24.
That is not at all.
Yes. Top 24, no doubt. Top 24. So I mean, how do you game plan against a team like LSG, who is definitely better than what their record suggests right now? I mean, you've got some great wide receivers out there like Greg Soto and Dave Axis. You've got Ike, you've got Adam, you've got Cam Collier. I mean, how do you game plan against that? It's tough. Fortunately, we've got a defense that has been playing together for a long time, with just a couple of us that have been added in last year and this year. We've got a different look for them this year than we did last year with our 2 new linebackers. We've got arguably the best defensive line in the league. which is great for me because I've been learning from two of the best in the league, which was helping my play on the field. But it's going to be hard for them to do much against our defense, and we're not going to give them much. The only thing we got to do is we got to stop that passing game, and we got to stop Ike from finding holes. Offensively, I know it's going to be tough, but we've got wily veterans everywhere on our offense, and they'll get it done.
Okay, I like that. So go ahead.
I wanted to speak on that too for a minute, because I spend a lot of time focused on my defense because, of course, I'm a defensive player, so that's where a lot of my focus is. But you know, and I'm trying to be completely objective here, but I find it very hard to find a better receiving core than what we have in LSG, because when you talk about number one with you know, Dave Axis, and then you've got Greg Soto, and then you've got there's so many, and then there's so many different receivers. I'm trying to think of our tight end, but there's so many different receiving options that we have.
Adam Williams.
Thank you. There's so many different receiving weapons that we have, and not to mention now with the most recent addition of Deuce Fennick, we're stacked in our receiving core. So, and then, you know, you've got Ike coming out of the backfield, Cam making holes for. It's really tough to stop that offense. So like I said, I speak a lot about the defense because I'm a defensive player, but that offense is stout. And so, and that's not to say that we can't be stopped, because, of course, it obviously happened with Houston last week. So, but like I said, with a couple of tweaks, like we were literally a play away from winning that game. So with and we made all the right adjustments in the second half. We've got to do better to kick those adjustments in a little bit sooner, and we'll be fine. So. Okay,
gotcha. So out of the last 3 games that each of you have played, who would you say made the most impact, like in each game, and how has progressions changed from week to week to get you over those humps that you sometimes have, that you've noticed?
You said who's made a greater impact between me and Mike, or in
general? Oh, just on your respective teams. Oh Lord, here we go. Your respective teams.
That'd be a simple answer.
I'm not going to disagree. He's got the tackles over me, so I wouldn't disagree that he's made more impact.
Yeah. But out of the last 3 games, though, like since we've started, who on your team besides yourselves do you think has made an impact, or that you've seen grow in the last 3 weeks, that maybe didn't do so hot the first to start, but now they're showing a significant difference?
Mike, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I'll go first. So on my team, there was a lot of talk about our draft and how unspectacular it was, but I gotta say, Keenan Samuels came out of the gate, and he's only gotten better every week. He's playing well. He's in the right spots. He's getting the tackles. Most of the time, when you see the ball in the other team's hands, you see number 49 not too far away. He's in the mix every play. And no disrespect to Josh Farnsey, because I love him. He's a great guy, but I just checked the stats yesterday, and Keenan is above him when it comes to tackles. So Keenan is showing that even though he didn't get all the respect that he deserved in the draft review, he's getting it done on the field, and he's proven that he should have gotten that respect right out of the gate. And each week as he gets better, he's more and more in there. And I'm proud to say that it was me that suggested to Frank that we go ahead and grab him in that first round. So I'm Keenan Samuels all the way.
Okay.
And I'll say one on defense and offense. So I'll give 2. So for me, offense, I want to speak about Deuce Fennick coming on as a rookie. Of course, you need time to ramp up, and you need time to get to where you need to be, get your progressions in, et cetera, et cetera. We threw Deuce into the fire. You know, and he's become one of our lead receivers. And not only that, punt return specialist, kick return specialist, and you know, he's progressed really well. And he took that responsibility, and he just ran with it. So you know, Deuce will be my offensive person that I point out as somebody who's made great strides. And on the defensive side of the ball, switching over from linebacker is Doug Day. Doug Day has made a huge impact. I don't think when Doug switched over from linebacker, everybody kind of, you know, tilted their head and wondered what was LSG doing, and they couldn't figure out how we were going to make it work. But Doug has blended seamlessly into his new position, and not only that, he's become a real threat in that defensive backfield, and he just slid right into place, and he's been a playmaker ever since he got there. So those would be my offensive and defensive players for that we were talking about.
Okay, cool. So changing things up a little bit now, Bo, I know that you're a voiceover artist, but you're also working with Epic Esports. What are you guys working on?
Yes. So I don't know how much I'm at liberty to talk about with Epic Esports. However, there are some things coming down the pike with the path to the draft and a lot of our rookies. And we're putting together some videos that I will be voicing. So I'm super duper excited to be a part of Epic Esports. And I can't wait for you guys to hear what I've been working on. And it's a far cry from where I imagined myself to be in SFL. I didn't think at all that I would be this involved with the SFL, so that even that I'm now even doing announcing. And so I look forward to doing even more, but it's going to be great when you hear it. Hopefully you'll recognize my voice. But look out for me on that with some Epic Esports announcing coming up.
How did that conversation even start? Was it after Nelson's show when we were all in there and, you know, you guys were talking back and forth, or was it before that? Or?
It was actually before that. This is the first that you're hearing of it, but this has been in the works. I was actually when I first early this season, I spoke with Cam about possibly getting into broadcasting games.
Yes.
And so, you know, I said that I may not quite be ready for that, and I sparked up a conversation between he and I, Cam Curtis, or is it Cameron? I forget. But I sparked up a conversation between he and I, and we got to talking about my experience with voiceover work. And he was like, "Oh, great. Well, let me hear some of your stuff." So, you know, I directed him to my Bo Knows VO website. And I directed him to my Bo Knows VO YouTube page, and he went there and he took a look at some of my stuff, and he was like, "Oh, you're a professional." And I'm like, "Yeah, I kind of this isn't like a hobby for me. This is kind of what I do. I make money off of this." So he was like, "Well, would you be interested in you know, joining us at Epic Esports?" And I was like, "Sure, any way that I can contribute, you know," because like I said, I don't know that I can necessarily give all of the time necessary to do things like broadcasting, but when it comes to things like, you know, announcing or things of that sort, that's a great way for me to contribute and show how much I appreciate the SFL.
Okay, gotcha. And Mike,
I can. Well, hold on. Let's just take a minute here. I can actually tell you how this is going to go for Bo when he's doing these voiceovers. It's going to be something like, and here we have Gerard Brody, cornerback for Salt Lake City, and he's on the field, and like he's doing some stuff, and there's a tackle, and well, there's some more stuff, and he's got the ball. He picked it off, and and he's doing some stuff. So good for him.
That's a gist, huh?
Hey,
yeah, that's basically how it's gonna sound.
And you know what, Ashley? People will love it so much more coming from me, because Mike's internet would freeze up, and he would sound like the
robot.
Right. So I guess it's a horse apiece.
Oh, well, Mike, at least, you know, I know that you're a great editor. I will say that. As far as your mic skills, I'm not sure. I haven't ran into the beep boop bop yet, but we won't. But
you know, Matt's jealous of how good my microphone sounds.
and Mike is jealous of how good my voice sounds. So.
Oh, okay. Well, y'all can just switch up. You know, you use his mic. You know, you can just work on it. Drink some tea to kind of smooth everything out, Mike, and you'll be good.
Well, Bo does have one of the sexiest voices in the SFL. I'll give him that.
Well, I thank you. I still want that interception though, but thank you.
So, Mike, you are the lead editor of the SFL content team. How much of a responsibility is that on you, and how much of a stress level does that have?
My goal with that is to make content creators such as yourself, my dear Ashley, to make them look as good as possible when they put out something. So there's no nitpicking at, like they wrote a lot, but they put it together and they're actually two different words, or they're a part of something, but they wrote it as they're a part of and not a part of something.
Yes.
Simple things like that. It's I just want you guys to look good, because what you're doing for the league is definitely a labor of love, and I don't want any negativity to detract from the fact that you're doing the work, and it's meant for the benefit of everybody. So what I do is I try to stay in the background, not draw so much attention to me, and make it all about you guys. And there's been some projects that have been more work than others, but it's not a big deal. I'm happy to do it. I'm always excited to get something to work on, because that just means that somebody else is out there doing more work to enhance the league. I may get more credit than I should, because my name shows up on there whenever I post it to the site for everybody, but it's never about me. It's always about you guys.
Yeah, but I also know that when you're working with so many different people, so many different ideas, it can be a little daunting at times. But how do you control that stress level that you can sometimes have?
Drink.
Well,
a lot.
Yeah. See, I got some root beer right here. So
there you go.
I'm yeah. It's there's been one or two that I've looked at and I'm just like, oh boy, how do I make this one work?
Right.
But is that English they're speaking?
Yeah, sometimes it's not. But it's not so bad. It I actually enjoy it, so it's not like a hassle. It's not demanding. It's something that I do and I enjoy, and there may be one or two times where I just like, what, I'm just gonna stop for a second. I'll give Bo a call and say, dude, I just need to blow off some steam for a second, because this is very frustrating. But in the end, it's not that big of a deal. It's all about helping the SFL grow and expand its reach, and making it more enjoyable for everybody in the league, not just me and not just Bo and not just yourself, but everybody.
Yeah, and shout out to Mike for doing that too, because that's awesome. I think a lot of the things like Mike does, they are, because they're behind the scenes, they go unnoticed. But I've heard some of the stories of some of the things that he's had to edit. He does call me from time to time, and it's like, I'm like, man, dude, you're a good one for that, because I probably would just return that to sender and be like, hey, you gotta do better. So shout out to him for muddling his way through what he's sometimes given, and just taking clay, and next thing you know, returning this beautiful vase. So shout out to him for that.
Absolutely. So, gentlemen, I know you do have to get prepared for Dave's show, but I want to know, how did you guys become friends in the first place? How did that relationship even start?
Ahead.
Oh, wow. That goes back 30 years now, probably a little more than that, believe it or not. Mike and I actually attended the same high school. And so, like I said, and we were in the same band class. We were in the same English class, and we also played baseball together. And Mike was one of the drummers, and I played, the tuba or the trumpet, whatever I was in at the time. And Mike wowed me with his Al Bundy impression, and that's how we became friends. And that's why I won't call him that like right now, but whenever we're on the phone, I call him Bundy. That's what I call him. So because that's how we became friends. So, but yeah, that's how we met, and it's probably in late 80s, early 90s.
All right, Mike, you want to add to it?
Yeah, so as far as the Bundy nickname goes, that actually started 2 weeks into our freshman year. I can't pinpoint exactly who started it, but somebody was like, "Yeah, you kind of look like Al Bundy." So it started, like I said, 2 weeks into freshman year. It spread like wildfire, and pretty much the whole school knew who the heck I was, and they'd be like, "What's up, Bundy?" And I'd be like, "I don't know who you are," but it worked. It worked. It got me known, and it obviously, produced a lot of laughs, especially for Bo and I. I was the Al, and I don't know how many people remember the first season or so of Married with Children, but he was my Luke from the Shoe Star.
Oh yeah.
I used to watch it all the time, so yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah.
There's very few people who love Bundy, the Married with Children series more than we did. I'll say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were good friends. We hung out outside of school. We had friendly competitions in school, trying to be, who could get the higher score or the higher grade in class or whatnot, and it was fun. And unfortunately, no, that wasn't always the case. But Bo decided to ditch early, so I was stuck.
Wait, no,
without him.
Say it right, Mike. Say it right. I graduated early. I graduated high school in 3 years. See, let Mike tell it. I ditched. No, I legitimately walked across the stage with a high school diploma in 3 years.
Oh, that's dope.
No, he did, and I'm definitely proud of him for doing so well. But left a big hole for me at school the whole next year. Like, well, now what? Because he ain't here. Granted, there was lots of girls and stuff to make up for it, but he still wasn't there either way. So,
but we still, it was cool because we hung out. We actually lost touch for, gosh, I don't know, maybe almost 8 years after high school. And I was at work one day. I was working for Verizon selling cell phones, and all of a sudden, just out of coincidence, in he walks, and he's like,
"Oh my God."
He just looked, and I'm like, Mike? I said Bundy? And I'm like, I couldn't believe it. And we exchanged numbers right then and there, and we haven't lost touch since. So it's crazy how things work out, because there's a lot of people from high school that I don't keep in contact with, but nobody from high school that I talk to more than Bundy.
Oh man, that is an awesome story. And the thing is, a lot of people, like you said, you don't keep in contact with most of the people that you went to high school with. And for you guys to be able to maintain that friendship, for this long, and it continues, is a blessing.
He actually introduced me to the SFL. He's the reason why I'm here, and I was in his wedding. He got married a few years back. I was actually, privileged enough to be in his wedding. I was completely honored that he thought enough to, I live in North Carolina. He's back in Milwaukee, but he thought enough to ask me to be in his wedding. And I absolutely obliged and came all the way up from North Carolina to be in his wedding. So yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he brings up another good point. He ditched me again by leaving Wisconsin to go to North Carolina. This dude just loves to ditch me.
Well, it is rather cold in Wisconsin, man.
Thank you.
I kind of understand. I don't even know how you still up there.
I keep telling him, come on down.
I don't want to be afraid of a quarter of an inch of snow and have everything shut down.
No, I didn't say come to Georgia. I said North Carolina. That's what we do down here. If it's an inch, we closing everything. Probably for good reason, because we're not very good drivers in Georgia, and I can say that because I've been born and raised here. So, but I think that's awesome that you two have still been able, like I said, to maintain your friendship. And even though you guys are on opposing teams, you still have that good camaraderie together. And it's going to be a really great matchup on when are y'all playing, Saturday or Sunday? Or do we know yet?
Saturday at 4:30 Eastern time.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I might have to think of something to wager with Mike, so that way, when we win, you will have a way of knowing. So I'll have to think of something.
Maybe y'all can change your profile pic. Whoever wins got to wear the other one. I mean, Dave X has already got the Houston one on. He scared me.
Yeah.
He did.
We'll talk about that. I'll hit up Mike, and we'll see what we can do about it.
Oh man, that'd be great, man. But I gotta give you guys the last word. So that can be a song, that can be a poem, or a simple shout out. But right now, Mike, the floor is yours.
Well, I don't have anything prepared, but I just want to say it's been an honor and a pleasure to have been Bo's friend for so many years. He's been a great guy and a great rock in my life. And anytime I needed somebody to talk to, he was always there, and vice versa. But it'd be nice to spend more time with him physically. Not physically, but physically. But we find ways. And but yeah, my shout out is to Bo, and I'm glad that we got to be here on your show together.
I'm glad y'all did too. This was awesome. And Bo, what about you?
Yeah, like Mike said, I didn't have anything really planned to say, but I will say, same thing. Shout out to Mike. Like I said, I don't have any other friends from high school. In fact, in life, there are very few people that I can say that I've been friends with as long as with Mike. So, much appreciated. I definitely appreciate the friendship. He's been a great friend. And so I'm looking forward to the competition that he and I are about to engage in for the first time, since we've been in, the SFL. So I'm excited for that. We've always been on the same team, so it'll be great to be on opposing team to see what that's like. Shout out to J Mart. I love you. That's my nephew. And he also will be on the other side of me for the first time in life. So I look forward to that competition. And thank you, Ashley, and everybody else who happens to see this video. Thank y'all, and I appreciate y'all.
Anytime, fellas, you're definitely welcome to come back whenever you want to. It's always a pleasure. And until next time, I'll see y'all out there in the field. Good luck to both of you.
Thanks, Ashley.
Thanks, Ash.
You're welcome.
Yep.
All right, everybody. And that's it. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to the show. Special shout out goes out to Bo Martin Jr., Mike All, and of course, my great co-host, Mr. Tyler Falk. I really do appreciate you being on, man, and breaking down these games with me. And I'm looking forward to working with you again sometime very, very soon.
Definitely, Ashley. Again, thanks for having me on. Thanks for appearing on NETMA yesterday. That was an awesome show, and I think everyone's pretty excited about the announcement that transpired over there on NETMA. But we're really looking forward to it. You can catch NETMA every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And their archive for NETMA is slowly but surely growing, link to which will be in the NETMA Discord. You can feel free to join that as well. Again, Ashley, thanks for having me on. Go Mavericks.
All right. And with that, everybody, stay safe, treat each other well. Tyler and Striker out.